We're back. We just finished recording Warlock, and now it's wizard time.
Currently, one of my characters is a wizard, and in 5e, they're just bonkers.
I just want to say, like, I've played a lot of wizards, but I haven't played a wizard in 2 years, and I really wanted to play a wizard in the game me and Daniel are playing in, but there we already have 2 wizards, and the DM begged us, please, we don't want a 3rd wizard. And the funny thing is, both wizards are war wizards. War mages.
Yeah. Yeah. Chronology is bad, and Graviturgy too. So we went with the 3rd strongest.
And both of these wizards are just like doing a lot of stuff, and I'm just playing a flagship ranger.
Anyway, let's talk about wizard. Yeah, wizard is super strong in 5e. I think both Brian and I were hoping for some nerfs in 1D&D. It's not really looking like that. Let's get into it.
There's boosts here, but I mean, it's not crazy like it was before, but it's still kind of crazy.
Features that they had in the last UA, like create spell and modify spell, are gone now.
Yeah, they're gone.
Thank God, or whatever.
Yeah,
you know, that stuff was crazy overpowered and would probably lead to a lot of annoying conversations at tables. I think those features were one of the most cool features ever, but they were also some of the most powerful features ever. So it was too much. First change we could maybe talk about is to the wizard's spellbook. It says it's a tiny object that weighs 3 pounds, contains 100 pages, blah, blah, blah. You determine the book's appearance and materials. Do you guys remember the also controversial video? I'm not sure what it's called, but the genie tech, where you make your genie vessel a ring of 3 wishes. Oh, the same thing here. You can choose what it is. It's just insane. Of course, that's not going to happen at any table, but I think they should probably be a bit more cautious with the wording they use at features like this. They probably should say non-magical and worth up to, I don't know, 10 gold or something, so you don't make it diamonds, make it a book full with diamonds on the edges or something along those lines. That's basically the only change I would make here.
There's not very many people who try to exploit stuff like that, but there is a community that exists for that.
Yeah.
So...
we wouldn't. We appreciate the DM's time too much to be doing that, but
we enjoy talking about them, but we don't.
Yeah, it's funny to talk about.
Yeah, they're just funny, but they should be fixed because you know, we don't want people to be like pointing at this and be like, oh, the game is crap because we can do this, right? And you know, they kind of do have a sort of point, and I feel like in the past they were really good with stuff like that, and they kind of like got a little worse after Tasha's.
It's a bit odd because half of these playtest rules are very, very, very detailed to make sure that they aren't abused, even when it's not necessary, and then others are like very open to mess with. You know, the team at Wizards is not really on one wavelength, I think, in that regard.
But I do think they're way better than Larian writing magic items, for example.
Yeah, that sucks.
Is awful, guys. After reading Larian magic items, I appreciate Wizards of the Coast writing way more. But anyways.
Previous UA, Wizards got a feature called Academic. It was kind of a flavorful feature that they got at level 2. I personally was okay with it. I think Wizards deserve a bit more class features instead of subclass features. Don't make them overly powerful, but flavorful ones are fine. That's gone now. Instead, they get Scholar. That just allows you to get expertise in one of the skills you have proficiency in. I actually like this more, personally.
I still think it's unnecessary, but there is a demand for it. I mean, people do actually want this. Like, I think spells and just cantrips and all that sort of stuff is just enough.
Yeah, it's just that there is, of course, like a divide between spells you prepare and features you have on your class sheet. I'm fine with some ribbon features for wizards to say.
When the wizard, for example, gets features like this, then you gotta boost the rogue more in these sort of skills and even give them like guidance and stuff like that. And then, you know, there are some people that are like, oh, we can't give rogue magic because, you know, that doesn't fit the theme. And it's just such an awkward position. So that's why
if you don't make martial supernatural, then they'll never be able to be balanced, I think, with...
Yeah, that's why I don't really like this feature, but whatever. If it stays, it stays.
Yeah. Memorize spell. It was in the other UA as well. Back then, it was like the memorize spell. Currently, it's just a feature. You memorize a spell. That's literally what it does. I think this feature is wholly unnecessary and way too powerful. They probably don't think so, but it allows you to pick up and prepare any spell on your spell book after a minute. Of course, you can't keep on stacking it, so you can't prepare Sleet Storm and then a Hypnotic Pattern as well. You can only choose one of the two. However, with the amount of preparations wizards have, you can just have a good base and then add to it whenever necessary. And I think that gives them way too much flexibility, which they are already super flexible by themselves. So why do they need this feature?
Yeah, it's completely unnecessary. And then you start thinking about scrolls and all sorts of stuff, right? They don't have.
There's no situation they aren't prepared for at that point.
Yeah,
so.
they don't have a flexibility problem. They are already flexible. Why are you making them more flexible? You're just making them stronger now.
Yeah, this feature is unnecessary. Though, speaking of preparations, something we didn't mention before, in 5e, they get to prepare spells equal to their level plus intelligence modifier. The last UA changed that to be a strict number of spells, and I think it was kind of a nerf that time. At this point, I checked it, and it seems to be about the same number of spells that you can prepare now. I'm not sure what you think about that. You no longer have to do math. You just have to look at the table.
I think that's fine, because there are quite a lot of people, like, well, the new players, right? This just helps new players. So I think that's completely fine.
Final big change to Wizard by like the base class is to spell mastery, and this is actually pretty big nerf to endgame Wizard. Though on the other hand, with everything they can do, it probably doesn't matter too much at this point. For spell mastery, you can no longer get anything except for spells that take an action to cast. That means you can't get a shield spell mastery or an absorb element spell mastery. That's pretty big, I think.
Yeah, it even mentions such as shield was too
powerful. That was their reason, I believe. I actually recently wrote an article for Tabletop Builds Spell Mastery and Signature Spells Guide, and most spells in the first level list are just reactions. There's absorb elements, there's shield, there's silvery barbs. There are, of course, other options, but really not that many. Unseen Servant is going to be like almost one of the only great options remaining, and honestly, I don't really want them to make people use Unseen Servant at will, because Unseen Servant at will makes for a bad game. I would rather have Shield at will. I'm not sure if I like this too much. By
the way, I hope they do fix Unseen Servant, because there's some funny stuff in there. And also people want Shield to be nerfed. They might do that. And we'll see. That would be good for the game, but we'll see.
I do feel like with Spell Mastery, you should be able to cast Shield, though, because if you make Spell Mastery too bad, then, you know, at some point, just don't give the feature.
Yeah, I agree. Because the game is... I feel like the game is over at 17. You're a god.
Yeah, you're already a gold dragon, you know, or silver dragon. Like, Shield at will won't matter too much.
Shield at will is whatever.
Especially with the amount of spell slots you have. It wouldn't be a big difference. Well, that's basically it for base Wizard. It still doesn't have many features except for spells. It's kind of fine. I do kind of like ribbons. For now, let's move on to the subclasses. There's two big changes to the subclasses in general. There is one, they changed the names. I love the new names personally. First it was like School of Abjuration, now it's Abjurer, you know, small thing. I like it.
I don't really mind it that much. I thought it was kind of flavorful, but at the same time, nobody really used them.
The other big change is to the Savant features. I think in every video you've made about a wizard subclass, you've complained about it, and I will wholeheartedly agree. The feature in 5e just doesn't make sense. It gives people more benefits when they do not prepare spells that fit with their subclass. It's like, what? Or learn spells from their subclass. Like, it doesn't make any sense at order. Right now, all of the wizard subclasses in this playtest, their Savant features work like this. And you get 2 spells from your spell school for free when you get the subclass, which is at level 3 now. And whenever you gain a new spell level, so you have second level spells at level 3, but at level 5 you would get third level spells, of course. You gain 1 free spell of the spell school your wizard is from. I really like that. That actually makes you pick up more spells of your school. That's cool.
Absolutely.
This is a buff, but on the other hand, wasn't the intent here that DMs gave you more spells anyway with scrolls so that you could copy them? They don't have to do that now because you just get it for free, right? The biggest change to this subclass is to Arcane Ward. As many of you may or may not know, you were able to increase your ward using spells that you were able to cast at will. So that is like Mage Armor through Eldritch Invocations from Warlock, or an even easier option, though not as time efficient, Alarm. You just ritual cast it and wait until your ward is at the level you want. Now you need to expend a spell slot to increase your ward. So that's a pretty big nerf, I would say.
I would say it's kind of necessary.
I don't think Abjuration Wizard was that powerful, though.
You don't think so? I thought it was really powerful.
Like, compared to a lot of other wizards? I'm not sure.
It was definitely up there, like above middle.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Usually these wizard subclasses are really strong. Like, oh my god.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know the campaign we were talking about? Like, even then I was considering, since everyone is War Mage, I'm gonna go Abjuration.
I don't know if I'm a big fan of the change.
There's something with
One thing we could
spell.
mention is Spellbreaker. They heavily changed Counterspell in this UA. So they also had to change Improved Abjuration, which previously allowed you to cast, I think, Counterspell and Dispel Magic once for free or something along those lines, or you at least had them auto-prepared. Either way, you now have Dispel Magic prepared for free. You can cast it as a bonus action, and you add your proficiency bonus to the ability check. Oh yeah, the add to the ability check is what it had previously too. Counterspell is completely gone here, and that's because they changed its design completely. Not a great change, right?
No, this is a pretty bad change. I think the best fix they could do is just remove Counterspell completely from the game.
Both versions are terrible for the game. I think Counterspell it's kind of like a rubber band fix to an issue of the game, being spells being way too powerful. Previously, you either immediately removed someone's ability to cast a spell, wasting both their action economy and spell slots, or you had to roll a DC if their spell levels are high. Now, they changed the spell so that there is a saving throw involved, a Constitution saving throw, and if the spell doesn't dissipate, aka they succeed on the saving throw, your spell slot isn't expended either. I think it's a very weird design. They say the reason is that it didn't account for the capability of the target before, and now it does. With the new change, you already want Constitution saving throw proficiency as a caster, as a player. So it improves counterspell for a player automatically. Like, if someone tries to counterspell your spell, immediately it's easier for you to succeed. And the other thing here is, this is just really annoying against enemies, because enemies don't care if their spell slots aren't expanded or not, you know?
Yeah, and I've done this many times as a DM. Counterspelled the Warlock, right? And that's just the funniest.
Evil.
Oh, that's the funniest thing you can do as a DM.
So evil.
But the player will just like hate you, and they'll hating
cry.
Counterspell. Yeah.
Overall, enemies are gonna be a lot worse against Counterspell than players are against Counterspell.
Yeah.
I just think it's a weird design. They say it doesn't account for the capabilities of the target, and it's like, okay, why is that based on how good they are at Constitution saving throws?
Also, like, they've changed the way spellcaster monsters work now. Like, some of them are just features now instead of spells.
A lot of them don't even have spell slots or spells. Yeah, just remove the spell. Like,
yeah, just remove
come
the
on.
spell.
Moving on. I think the level 10 feature is a bit boring now, because it only does something to Dispel Magic, which is not as common as Counterspell. Next is Diviner. Their third eye feature has been changed. I approve of the change wholeheartedly. Like, they now get to cast See Invisibility instead of having to choose between seeing invisible or invisible things or seeing into the ethereal plane. Right now, they just get to have See Invisibility up all the time, which is like a lot more convenient, I believe.
Yeah, there isn't really much to say besides, oh, cool. right? So
Well, the funny thing is, you remember how they fixed the thing where you cannot spam spells without losing your spell slots for Arcane Ward, at least for the most part. They didn't fix that for Divination Wizard. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but there's like Divination tech. Again, we wouldn't use this in our games. It's just interesting to consider. For spells with longer casting times, I may be saying this slightly wrong, but this is basically the point. You expend the spell slot at the start of the casting, but if your spell casting stops in the middle, then you get the spell slot back. So there are divination spells that have like a longer casting time than action, and if you stop casting them in the middle, you have expended a spell slot, but you get it back. So that's basically the point of divination tech. So you can just keep on doing this. Like augury is an example, 1 minute casting time, clairvoyance, stuff like that. So the augury doesn't work for expert divination, but clairvoyance, for example, does. That just allows you to keep on regaining spell slots through it.
Guys, I'm gonna be totally honest, I actually didn't know this.
I think Odair was the one who made this up.
Yeah.
Odair,
Odair is insane.
Always makes up the most insane tech.
Yeah, he's got the most insane tech I've ever heard.
So that still exists. That's probably also not the intent. I think you may be able to do something similar with Arcane Ward. I'm just not sure if there's abjuration spells that require a longer casting time. It doesn't work for rituals, I think, because they aren't longer. Okay, maybe you can do it with alarm. I have to look at that later. Either way, Divination Wizard, they changed Third Eye. I like to change the Third Eye, but the funny thing here is that it says the 2014 version of the invisible condition contained an unintentional loophole in some circumstances that allowed an invisible creature to benefit from the condition even when someone could see the creature. The version of the condition in the rules glossary closes that loophole. So I think in most videos you've talked about invisibility and how it's broken in a way where it's not written well. I think they messed it up again this time.
Oh my god. Did they really? They changed again?
I think they did.
I thought in one of them they actually managed to figure it out. And now they...
Yeah, I think so too. But I think they changed it once more.
And speaking of which, they changed the death saving throws again. They just cannot figure that out.
Oh, actually, I think it may just have been bad last time too. So, okay, let's take a look. If we go to invisible, the condition, here it says concealed. You aren't affected by any effect that requires its target to be seen. And it has the attacks affected subcategory 2, which says attack rolls against you have disadvantage and your attack rolls have advantage. If a creature can somehow see you, as with magic or blindsight, you don't gain this benefit against that creature. So even if you can see someone, you cannot cast a spell on them because they're invisible, because only the attacks affected has the clause, if a creature can somehow see you, you don't gain this benefit. The concealed thing is still there.
Yeah.
They can never get this right.
No,
I don't know why.
They can't. So sometimes I'm just like, can't they just go to another system and just copy paste? Because they don't know how to word this. I know nobody's gonna run it like that, but like we said before, this stuff does need to be fixed, especially in a playtest. But there is a community,
especially when they write down they closed the loophole, and it's like, okay,
it's like no, you didn't.
Nope, you didn't.
People will still argue this, and we know a community that does this. So
let's move on quickly.
Yes.
Please fix it. Invisibility, guys. Evoker Wizard. Definitely one of my favorite wizards. I made the Hexvoker build on Tabletop Builds. Of course, a very well-known build. We didn't make it up. It's super fun.
Evoker is great for basically everyone. Veterans and even new players. Just blasting is fun.
And this just works well in any party, basically. They did a bit of shuffling on this one. They moved Potent Cantrip to level 3 and Sculpt Spells to level 6. So they basically swapped them. Of course, it's not the exact same levels, but you get them at different moments now. Do you like that?
No, I don't like that. I would prefer Sculpt Spells come immediately for Shatter and Binding Ice and Thunderwave and stuff like that. Although Thunderwave is kind of easy to target with.
Yeah.
To be fair, I feel like all of them are, but still, Sculpt Spells should become earlier, right?
Their argument here is few spells at lower levels benefited from the feature. At level 6, it can benefit many iconic spells, and then they mean Fireball, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that is correct, but this should come earlier.
I can see their reasoning, really. Like, I understand it. And I do actually like Potent Cantrip coming in so early. I think that's pretty fun that it, it's not an all too powerful feature overall, but it's nice. I'm not sure if I think that's worth giving up Sculpt spells so late, because like you said, Rhymes Binding Eyes, Shatter, spells like that, even Fireball at level 5, you don't have Sculpt spells. And it's maybe just too late. Probably swap them back around.
Swap them back. I want to blast. I don't want my friends to be hurt. You never know.
And that matters right from the start. So yeah, it would be nice if you can have it then. Oh, interestingly enough, it also works in attack rolls now instead of just saving throws. Either way, still, I would swap them. Illusionist, the last one in the list, they received a few changes. There's Malleable Illusions. You can use it as a bonus action now. I heard people talking about how you can like refresh Mirror Image with it. Funny idea. Mirror Image is still bad. In general, Illusory Self, buffed slightly. You can use it at level 2 spell slot to use it again, so you can use it even more. Illusory Reality, a bit more clarification. Don't think it was necessary. This stuff, I mean, it's powerful, but really only once you have Illusory Reality, and otherwise it's Super DM Fiat. Do you think they can fix that somehow?
No, I don't think they'll be able to fix that. I think that's just
the way it is.
The way it is. Like, and I think that's completely the intent. Like, the subclass wants you to play with imagination. This one's really hard to talk about, like, what is correct or what is not. I think this is just the best way they can do it.
Maybe they can fix Illusionist by fixing illusion spells instead of fixing the subclass. I actually wrote an entire article about what to ask your DM when you want to play an Illusionist or something along those lines. It's like so many questions that are just not answered in the game anywhere. So what are your opinions about this wizard? You think they fixed the features at least?
I don't think it's the features that need to exactly be fixed. I overall think it's the spells that need to be fixed.
I agree.
And I really wish this playtest was all of the spells in the game. We have a playtest, right? And we still can't play this wizard at tier 1 or tier 2.
This is playtest 7, and they just say use the spells in 5e, and it's like, okay, but then every caster still bonkers.
Yeah, it doesn't solve anything. Like, the features is not the problem. It's the spells.
I think if they remove Memorize spell and remove some of the strongest spells in the game and maybe nerf a few others, then it would be a lot more manageable. But they probably won't. We'll have to see. I think that's it then.
Yeah, that's it. End the video. Bye-bye!